Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. Don't forget to like and subscribe because we got a couple of Indiana Fever updates to dive into today. First off, we got some news on Lexie Hull and Damiris Dantas. And just like a lot of things this season, it's a mix of good news and bad news. We're heading into Game 3 against the Las Vegas Aces, and this one is on Indiana's home floor. That crowd is going to be electric, no question about it. Fever fans have been waiting for this, and they're ready to make Gainbridge Fieldhouse one of the loudest arenas in the league. Now, on the broadcast side, Ryan Ruocco is on the call, and thank goodness Rebecca Lobo is alongside him. Because let me tell you, if I had to sit through another 2 hours of pure Proasis propaganda coming from the other crew, I don't know if I could take it. I mean, they don't even try to hide it. The bias just jumps right off the screen. But hey, I'll save you my rant for another time. What matters is this. The Fever need everyone healthy and locked in. Lexie Hull has been a difference maker with her defense and energy, while Damiris Dantas add size and versatility. Their updates matter big time for what's ahead. Because if the Fever are going to take down the defending champs, they need every weapon available. So yeah, that's where we're at, good news and bad news, but a whole lot of energy heading into Game 3. Stay tuned, Fever fans, because this one is shaping up to be epic. So let's start here. This update comes by way of Chloe Bibby Peterson ahead of tomorrow's game, and it's about Lexie Hull. During practice today, Lexie was reportedly dealing with some back issues. And of course, my first thought was, is this an end badly? Am I about to see Lexie Hull sitting on the bench right next to Chloe Bibby, Caitlin Clark, and Sophie Cunningham, all lined up like the bench mob? Thankfully, it doesn't look like that's the case. But still, you've always got to be concerned. Even something minor could affect minutes when you're this deep into the season. Now, as expected, Damiris Dantas remains out for Game 3 against Aces. She's still in concussion protocol. And honestly, I'm sitting here wondering, when exactly did she even get this concussion? We all know she's missed time for it, but the league hasn't exactly been clear. Transparency from the WNBA would be nice, right? Fans deserve to know what's happening. Back to Lexie. Coach Stephanie White confirmed she didn't practice today for precautionary reasons. The good news is that she's listed as probable with that back injury. At this point in the season, how much practice does she really need anyway? Everybody is banged up to some degree. What matters is being ready to go when the ball tips. So, the Fever head into Game 3 at home against the Aces with some questions, but also some optimism. Lexie is probable, Dantas is still out, and the rest of the team will have to rally. It's playoff basketball. Nobody is 100%, but this is when toughness counts the most. So, let's get into the next big storyline here. Our other star on this Fever squad, outside of Caitlin Clark, is Kelsey Mitchell, and she's officially headed to Unrivaled. Now, I don't know how much that excites any of you, or if it makes you want to tune into Unrivaled more, or maybe even less. For me, personally, it doesn't really move the needle all that much. At the end of the day, it's still 3x3 basketball, and I've said this before, I think that's one of the league's biggest flaws. That being said, the Fever now have 2 players packing their bags for the blue skies and warm beaches this winter. Unrivaled, for anyone not familiar, is a 3x3 league co-founded by WNBA stars Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart. And here's the kicker. Both of them also happen to be vice presidents of the WNBPA, the Players Association. So when you think about league competition and collective bargaining agreement talks, it's pretty interesting to see how Unrivaled lines up directly against the WNBA in a few ways. Just something worth pointing out. This week, Unrivaled officially announced that both Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell will be suiting up this winter. For Hull, this isn't new territory. She played in the league's inaugural season earlier this year and actually came away with a championship, winning it all with Rose BC. So this marks back-to-back off-seasons where she's decided to run with Unrivaled. Now with Mitchell joining her, that gives the Fever 2 stars competing outside the W, keeping their game sharp but also raising questions about what this all means long-term for the league landscape. Kelsey Mitchell is taking a different path this offseason. For the first time in her career, she's joining Unrivaled and staying stateside, instead of heading overseas like she has in years past. Last season, She played a stretch in China, but that stint ended early when she broke her finger. That injury brought her back to Indianapolis, where she went on to lock in her core contract with the Fever in January of 2025. Now, here's the impressive part. Despite that broken finger, Mitchell went on to put together one of the best seasons of her entire career. She was not only durable, starting every single game for a Fever team that seemed to be plagued with injuries all year long, but she also performed at an MVP finalist level. We're talking about averaging 20.2 points per game and 3.4 assists, numbers that cemented her status as one of the top guards in the WNBA. Looking ahead, Mitchell is slated to hit unrestricted free agency after the 2025 season. Of course, she's still eligible to be courted again by the Fever, which is a storyline worth watching. On top of that, she received a $20,000 time-off bonus in her contract, which limits her participation in outside leagues to no more than 90 days. Conveniently enough, the Unrivaled schedule fits right into that window, starting January 5th, 2026, and wrapping up in early March, depending on how the playoffs shake out. And don't forget, both Mitchell and Lexie Hull are no strangers to the 3x3 format. The two were part of the player pool for Team USA during the 2024 Paris Olympic cycle. So this isn't new ground. In a lot of ways, Unrivaled gives them the perfect chance to stay sharp, stay competitive, and keep building their games before the W tips off again in the spring. All right, let's shift gears for a second, because over on X, Catcher Season 2 dropped across TNT, True TV, and HBO Max, and the reaction started rolling in. And honestly, if you thought Kelsey Mitchell was a nightmare to guard in 5x5, just wait until you see her in 3x3. She looks like she was built for this. I mean, Mitchell in the 3x3 format, that's pure cinema, absolute entertainment. And if we're being real, someone like Kennedy Carter would probably thrive in this league too. Just throwing that out there, because her style translates. Now, here's where it gets interesting. People are saying Mitchell in 3x3 is about to feed families. And look, are we sure about that? Yes, Kelsey's a bucket, no doubt about it. But the competition's going to be tough. Still, one thing's clear. Better this than her going overseas, where too often injured players don't get the same care or consideration. Of course, the counterpoint? Some of those overseas leagues are shelling out serious money. Like, we're talking $1 million plus for top talent. So, is this move really better long-term? That's something we're all going to be debating. Either way, I do not envy whoever has to line up across from her in that one-on-one tournament. That's going to be scary. Now, as for the comments, sure, the Unrivaled official feed is hyping this up with wall-to-wall positivity. But let's be real. Once the conversation spreads outside their bubble, the reactions won't be nearly as glowing. That's just how it goes. So here's the thing. On one hand, we're talking about a player needing rest and recovery, dealing with nagging injuries, especially a back issue. On the other hand, just a couple months down the line, there's talk about her playing in another league, this time 3x3. And that's the conflict of interest that nobody really wants to address. Like, which way is it? Do you want her to actually heal up? Or do you want her running it back in a new competition before she's fully ready? Now, don't get me wrong, 3x3 basketball has its appeal. It's fast, it's physical, it's made for highlight reels. And honestly, players like Kelsey Mitchell and Lexie Hull jumping into this league definitely spice it up. Does it get my blood pressure up? Maybe a little. But at the same time, it's not necessarily pulling me in unless the right mix of players show up. Like, imagine Sophie Cunningham lacing them up for 3x3. Suddenly I'm interested. If Chloe Bibby joins too, now we're talking. Put Sophie and Chloe on the same squad, and I might actually commit to watching more than just the first 5 minutes. That would be entertainment. But here's where I land. The main storyline isn't really who's in 3x3. It's the balance between health priorities and competition. If your body's telling you it's time to rest, then maybe forcing more basketball into the calendar isn't the best move. But if players are hungry and chasing the bag, you can't knock the hustle either. So what do you think? Are you in on this 3x3 wave? Or is it just background noise until the main W season tips off again? That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.